Welcome to the Excelsior Health Podcast. This is the podcast for busy professionals and busy parents who are battling weight gain, high stress, and a drop of self-confidence. And we make the complicated simple. We're going to help you prioritize strength training, healthy lifestyle habits, and a positive environment so that you can lose fat, build muscle, and start to bring out that warrior within. I'm your host, Coach Cory Fernandez. And hey, guys, today we have an amazing episode. We have a special coach, special guest that's in the house. So, hey, introducing this guest, this is someone very close to me. They have absolutely transformed in this program from being in this program since they were 11 years old, just being a little pipsqueak, walking around the gym, transforming to becoming this strong, confident young woman, but also transforming and learning the skills to be a transformation coach. And she's a huge part in our team at Training for Warriors right now of coaching other busy professionals and other busy parents on how to transform their health. So without further ado, Coach Carmela, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Got some makeup on, got your hair did.
Just had a show for my debut,
So
a big break.
She usually doesn't put too much makeup or hair done, but so it's a special occasion today.
It is.
All right. So I guess, I gave a little bit of a bio, but introduce yourself, give them a little bit of insight on who Coach Carmela is.
Okay. So as you said, my name is Carmela, AKA Coach Carms, everybody's favorite coach. And about me, I'm 20 years old and I've been in this program. Like you said, I've grown up here basically since I didn't even know it was 11. I thought it was 12. I was small, so I didn't realize. And I'm also the daughter of Cory as well as Coach Susie. And I've grown up here. And my role here at TFW SAUGA is I'm the lead head coach.
Mm-hmm. So as the lead head coach, what are some of your responsibilities? What do you do here?
My responsibilities, number one priority is really just on the floor, coaching up the students, making sure everybody has an amazing experience, giving them a great training session. Also as well too, I post a lot on the Instagram. I'm mainly responsible for content, posting every single day, and also to some admin support as well.
So she's responsible for making our students, aka our clients, look good.
Exactly.
They look like superstars when they're doing their workouts. Coach Carms gets the right angles. So going back to, I guess, what you do when you say, giving that amazing experience, what does a typical session look like, when you're coaching? Like from when someone walks through the door, what do they experience?
Like if it's someone's first day?
Not even a first day, like a typical, hey, I'm a student in the class. What's the normal sequence of a workout? Like how does a normal session kind of go down?
Okay. Yeah. So the students, they would come in through the doors, and the way that our sessions always work, it always starts off with the motivational message of the day, right? We would come here in the middle, we would meet up in our team huddle, you could call it, and the coach would just give, a 5-minute message. We start off with a tip of the day, right? We would talk about lifestyle habits, water, nutrition, walking, all those different things. And then we would give basically a story of the day, just something to train the mind before we train the body as well too,
Mm-hmm.
right? And after that, our motivational message, we would get into a dynamic warm-up, right? We would start off doing a warm-up about 10, 15 minutes long to make sure that we prepare our bodies to be able to strength train, right? Do our weights. And then after we're done that, we take attendance, give out the beast and haws, make sure everybody's here. And then we would basically separate into different groups, right? So if it's a 12-person class, it would be 2 coaches, 6 people with that coach, 6 people with the other coach. Or maybe if it's just a single pod, meaning just 6 to 1, it would just be myself. And then I would separate the students into pairs, right? So everybody would be at their own rack. They would be partners with that person and they would work out. And then as well as the other people as well.
There you go. So that's like an overview of like our program, and what she was describing too is personal strength training experience. So that's our most intimate form of coaching. What that allows us to do as coaches is give you real strength training where you could train power, strength, hypertrophy, muscular endurance, but you can do this in a shared cost. So instead of spending $75 to $100 per session for great coaching in a one-on-one setting, you don't have to pay that. You pay half the cost of that or even more, but you're in a small group. So you can leverage the energy, the enthusiasm, the support of working with a small team. So like Coach Carms is saying, she has probably the most sessions coached on the schedule. So she does majority of the coaching hours in our program. So she makes a lot of strong connections with a lot of our clients. And I guess my first question for you as a coach, if you're looking at the people that we serve, right, which are busy professionals, most of our people, they're in their late 30s, definitely in their 40s, in their 50s. They're struggling with gaining weight, high stress. They're not coming confident. They don't really like the gym, like when they start their journey. What's their biggest challenges that you see or their biggest mistakes that's stopping them from getting to the next level of results?
Mm-hmm. I think one thing for sure, especially the way that just social media and the world kind of portrays things, that they think getting great results and transformation is like a quick fix. Like they're looking for things that will happen in 10 weeks, right? Things that will happen in the next month or even the next week. But people don't realize that in order for you to get great transformation results, live a healthy lifestyle and be this healthy, fit person they want to become, it's something that is for the long term. It's something that's for the rest of their life.
Yeah. And that's a hard thing. Like as coaches, like, I do a lot of the sales in this program. You have to sell somebody on the vision of getting results because we believe that we can help them get there. But it's different than like selling them a car or selling them a nice haircut or getting your nails done. Because as soon as you pay for that thing, you walk away with the car. You're like, oh man, this is wicked. It smells good. It drives good. You get your nails done. It's done. But working out, it takes time. You do all this uncomfortable stuff. You're sore. You got to learn how to eat. You got to prioritize your schedule. So it's like for a lot of people, getting through that difficult period of discomfort, it stops them from getting the results because they don't learn the strategies and the steps to basically get through it. So that's one challenge, is I guess not having the right expectations based on social media of what it actually takes to get results. What would you say from your point of view? What's a realistic time frame? So let's say I'm the typical Wendy the Warrior, we call her, right? She's 30 pounds overweight. She's not working out. Most of her time she's spent doing cardio. What's the timeline for her to see results?
I think everybody's transformation is different. The amount of time is different as well too. But I would say honestly, for somebody to make impactful change, it could be a year. Like a year could be an amount of time where someone could see significant amount of results. They transform their body, but honestly, it's hard to always stay consistent. Like you're always losing 1 pound and then gaining, like all these different things. There's always different phases that people go through. So I think honestly, like 3 years is more realistic
to see real transformational results.
Yeah, it's not always going to be consistent. That you might do great in the beginning, but in the middle you might plateau, you might go back up. Like there's so many different phases that people go through in life, but also in their transformation journey as well.
Yeah, honestly, that like I was thinking about it not too long ago. Like when I look at people's journey in the program, like that 2-year mark is like it's like a good place because in the first year, people are learning a lot. They're like developing that relationship with fitness. They're like incorporating these habits. And oftentimes people get results. So for example, like if we're talking about that woman who maybe her goal was to lose 30 pounds, they often do accomplish that within a year. But when Carmela is saying like 2 to 3 years, it's all the other things, man. It's actually understanding strength training. It's understanding what you need to do to sustain those results. But it's like the other areas of their life too, like their mental, their leadership, like all these other things are what leads to long-term results, right? So what would be maybe some other challenges that you typically kind of run into when you're coaching people?
I think maybe just their mindset of things. Like I think people are so used to negativity, like believing to themselves that I can't become this person that I want to be. Like they're just so caught up in the fact that I don't like working out. Like I don't see myself working out for 3 days in a week. I don't see myself doing cardio classes, all these different things. So I think that's something that people struggle with, is that believing that they could become this healthy person because they've just always grown up in a family that was unhealthy. They've always grown up as someone who's never worked out before, and to them to see themselves be a healthy person, it just seems unrealistic to them.
Okay. So far, some of the big challenges that you said is the expectations for how long it gets results.
Mm-hmm.
It's their belief system, right? Maybe the environment that they're on a regular basis. There's just not a lot of people putting in that positive reinforcement that like, hey, you can get results.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth it to transform. Any other kind of challenges that you see that stops people from reaching, their goals or getting results?
I think having the ability to prioritize themselves. I think as busy professionals and busy parents, I think they're just so used to putting everybody else first. It's always the kids, like they got soccer, they got to do this. It's always my husband, my wife, like they have all these other things that they're so worried about their career and their family that the last person that they seem to make time for is themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would add to that, I think living in where we live, a big city, Mississauga, Toronto, the greater Toronto area, everything is just put on like fast forward. So much people like we're working 40 to 50 hours per week. We have kids' extracurricular activities. We got the house that we're trying to maintain, somewhat maybe trying to have social life with family. It's like all these things get put on the top, but your health is put on the back burner. And what happens for most of our busy professionals, they get to like a breaking point where maybe it's a decade of doing this where enough is enough. And now all the other areas, whether it's your career, starts to suffer, right? Sometimes it's the relationship, right? You and your spouse, you're not as intimate anymore. You don't have that connection, emotional disruption. Like you guys are always in a bad state. But the last thing I would say, which is coming more and more and more, is just people's mental health. When I sit in these transformation meetings a lot of the time, and you talk to students all the time, it's mentally, that's what they're saying is, yes, they're overweight, but it's like, I don't feel good mentally. I'm dealing with anxiety. I'm dealing with stress. I'm dealing with depression in extreme cases. So we can't say it enough that working out, training, prioritizing your health, it's one of the most important things you can do that will improve all those other areas in your life. So I guess, Coach Carms, for you, if we can give some advice, now that we've identified, I guess, a couple things, for people that this is the reason why they're not getting the results, they're not prioritizing, they have unrealistic expectations, they don't have the right support system. Give us some advice, maybe some habits, so how they can start transforming their health.
Like what they should do now?
Yeah, like for our busy professional, like, whether it's using our 5 pillars, what are some things that they can start doing that will move them in the right direction that you would recommend as a coach?
Okay. Well, I think definitely step one is just showing up. Like if you could just show up for yourself, show up to the gym, like that's the hardest part, just to walk through the doors, to do your training and movement, like how we always talk about in our 5 pillars. So the one that I wanted to kind of base on that is the 4 days for life aspect. So it doesn't matter how busy life gets. It doesn't matter what your schedule is. It's just no matter what, you always live by that saying of 4 days for life. You're always going to show up 4 out of 7 days in the week to prioritize time for yourself.
Why do you think, as a coach, like a busy professional, or just anybody for that matter of fact, why is it important to work out 4 days a week? Why not 7? Why not 2? Like, what's the significance behind 4?
It's the right amount to get right results, but also sustainability. So it's not too little and it's not too much where it's 7, where you don't have to work out so much to get great results. Like you still need proper rest, still need proper recovery, but 4 is great for anybody who is, whether it be advanced or a beginner as well too.
Yeah. And what we say in the program, that's our motto, is 4 days for life. We just believe that if someone worked out 4 days a week consistently, we can make a huge impact in their life. So I learned this recently. It's almost like an approach to creating your habits, ABC. So for us, an A habit would be 4 days for life, right? That would be ideal for us when we're coaching someone. But for a lot of people, starting at 4 days a week might be a little bit tough when they're coming from a decade or more of not working out. Hey, Coach Susie. But the B habits that what we would recommend would be like, hey, things aren't optimal, things aren't the best, but like it's still pretty good, would be 3 times a week, right? A C habit in terms of what we're talking about, the frequency of workouts, 2 days a week. So even 2 days a week of strength training can have a big impact on your mental states, on your body being able to protect itself from injury, building muscle, your metabolism. So take that away. Like what Coach Carm's saying is, hey, 4 days for life, man. Like if you can do that, you can really see results. But when shit is a little bit more challenging, can I sustain 3? When all hell's breaking loose in my life and I got all these deadlines, my kid's schedule, can I at minimum get 2 days? Because anything above 0 compounds. It's better than just doing nothing. And I think sometimes people have that all or nothing mentality.
Yeah.
All right.
For sure.
Okay. So 4 days a week training, what would be some other tips that you'd give us?
So going into the next part of our 5 pillars of Excelsior Health, it would be nutrition habits. And I think it doesn't have to be complicated. I think people, they always think that they want to do the fancy things, like the things like reverse dieting, or they want to try this cool supplement that they see everybody, all the cool influencers trying. But I think the number one thing that if people just do more of this, they should see so much physical change and feeling inside their body where they feel better, is just eating real food. Like eating real food in terms of whole foods, like making sure you're having protein on the plate, vegetables and carbs, all those different things.
So for example, for me, I'm a busy professional. I have no idea what the hell you mean by eat real food. Most people do know, but
yes.
What would you say if you were kind of putting a warrior meal, like what we like to say, what would be an example of real food on a plate?
So there's like a visual aid that we have. So if you just think of a plate, like the whole plate of a circle, I would say half of the plate would be vegetables, right? So make sure you have vegetables inside of there. A quarter of it would be your protein, right? And then the other quarter would be like starchy carbs.
Okay. And like when you're saying that, why is that real food? Like what makes it real food?
It's just natural, whole foods, like foods that you would get from a grocery store. But like, I think even the thing about the grocery stores too is like there's so much processed foods and like quick foods that you would just grab on the go that people, they just rely on those things as meals, that they don't actually make time to whatever be cook or just actually have time to make sure you have those good macros.
Yeah, like as a whole, we're coming more and more and more away from what food is. So like when we say eat real food, it's like people got to learn what that is, because we think eating real food is getting fast food. It's having packaged food. Like almost everything that we're eating is fast and processed. So just that switch from not eating out as much and eating cooked food. So examples of protein, like you said, a quarter example of protein, what would be some good examples?
Chicken, steak, eggs, fish, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are like the best sources of protein. What would be some great examples of carbs, like some starchy carbs?
Rice, potatoes, sweet potatoes, like, yeah, all those things.
And then what would be some vegetables?
Broccoli, eat your broccoli, salads, celery, like all those different green foods are great. Carrots.
But what if I don't like veggies as a coach? Because I'm sure, you're 20 years old coaching a lot of 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds and 60-year-olds, 30-year-olds, people that are very stuck in their ways, that have spent years with these bad habits. What would you say if you're trying to convince me right now? You're telling me to eat real food. What the hell do I want to eat broccoli for? What is broccoli going to do for me?
it will make you feel more fulfilled. Like if you're having more whole foods, like vegetables and protein, like all those different things, you're going to snack less on the terrible things. You'll have less sweet cravings and your stomach will be more fulfilled that you don't need to rely on snacks throughout the day.
And that's another point that we like to do in the program is to get people to focus on the positive habits versus the negative ones. Of course, we don't want you to eat chips. We don't want you to over drink an alcohol and eat ice cream. But like Coach Carm is saying, is if you're putting your focus on, let me get 2 fists of veggies, let me get 1 palm of protein, let me get 1 cupped hand of carbs, there's going to be less room, one in your stomach, but less room in the day for you to go and get those other foods. All right. So what I would add on to that is just simple things is eating real food. You're going to not only like lose more body fat, you're also going to improve your like internal health, so the way your body processes, because you're getting micronutrients. So when I'm eating broccoli and I'm eating tomatoes and I'm eating berries, I'm getting micronutrients from those that make my body work better, right? When I'm getting protein, this is helping me build muscle, right? This is helping me burn calories through digestion. And then carbs, yeah, man, carbs is not the enemy. I think people over abuse carbs, but when you eat carbs, before the workout, after the workout, it's a great source of fuel. And it's a great source to help you recover from your training, right?
Another part I would say is what you put on the inside shows what you get on the outside, like your physical appearance, your skin, your hair. So you could tell by looking at someone how they eat.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so far we talked about 4 days for life. That's a staple for a busy professional to start changing their lifestyle. Eating real food, right? So getting protein, carbs, healthy fats, vegetables on the plate, drinking water. What else would be some tips that we want to get people to prioritize?
So the next one for sure that I think people know they need more of, but they just don't prioritize it is definitely the sleep quality and quantity. So making sure after a long day of work or a long day of doing whatever you're doing, because everybody lives crazy lives, you have to make sure that you're making time and you're getting enough sleep in the night, but not just enough sleep quality. So I could be somebody that's tossing and turning in the night, sleeping for 8 hours, but it's not quality sleep of deep 8 hours.
Yeah, we have a research study that we always go back to. It's in our handbook that we give to our clients, but it just shows the difference when they compared someone who was getting less than 5 hours of sleep compared to someone who was getting above 7 hours. And these people did the exact same workout routine. They had the same amount of movement, the same macros and same calories. The biggest thing that was different was their sleeping habits. And the other person lost way more body fat, burned way more calories in a certain duration of time. So when Coach Carms is saying sleep, a lot of people will hear that and they'll be like, yeah, that's cool. But like sleep is not a luxury. It's a necessity for transforming your health. There's very few people that are lean, are strong, that have a great immune system, that walk around on a regular basis, super sleep deprived. Yeah, don't get me wrong. There's seasons where, we all like sometimes, hey man, we got 5 hours of sleep. We got 4 hours of sleep. Maybe we went to party and we meant to socialize. Maybe we were working hard, meeting a deadline. That happens, but more people are living on an everyday basis, just watching TV, glued to the phone, sitting up in their bed, just thinking 4 hours and 3 hours of sleep is normal. And it's definitely not.
Yeah.
So what would be another tip?
So going into the next part of like our 5 pillars would be resilient mindset. So the next one that I think people don't think about, but also too people don't just make it a ritual part of their day or they don't do it often, is gratitude, right? So gratitude being thankful for people or things in your life, because I think people get too caught up in the negativity that's going on. All the things that they did wrong throughout the day, they don't think about the things that went right or their wins of the week simply. And I think if you could practice more gratitude to the people you care about the most as well too, it builds a better connections and better relationship with those people.
Okay. But like, again, I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm the busy professional. I just want to lose fat.
Mhm.
Like, I just want to lose fat. I just want to build muscle. Like, what the hell do you talking to me about gratitude? Like, how does gratitude influence my overall health?
I think gratitude isn't something that, like, if you be more thankful, you're not going to lose more body fat technically, but I think it just kind of shifts your mindset of, rather than focusing on the negativity, you're focusing on the positive things, the good things that are going on in your life. And just like every time when you do your student success meetings, just simple things like, what's your win of the week? A lot of the students, they don't even know. Like, they can't even name one thing that they were proud of that they did. And I think it's just everybody's just so caught up in what they did wrong that they don't think about the things that they actually did right. They have to give themselves credit.
Yeah, because we're trained. Like, our brain is easily able to see what's wrong. Like, this is wrong. This is wrong. I got to fix this. So if I ask that same question, hey, like, are you going through any battles in your life right now? People can communicate that very, very quickly. But like Coach Carms is saying is, can you train your mind just like you train a push-up, just like you train a squat, to search for the good things that's going on, the things that you're appreciative for? And our mind moves to what we're familiar with. So it's just talking about things that you're grateful for. Our brain is going to work for us to search those things, make them come up more in our life. And what I would also say is, yes, like, practicing gratitude is not maybe going to make you directly lose body fat, but what it does, it's going to improve your mental health. Most of the depression that people are going through in their everyday life, it's their perception of the world. Like, they think everything is so wrong. They think every obstacle that they're going through is terrible. Why am I going through this? Where someone who looks through life with a sense of gratitude, they can see the same problem. They can see the same challenge, but instead they're like, man, this sucks, but this is going to teach me a lesson. This is going to give me some sort of story that's going to help me in my life. So it's like, just having that filter of gratitude allows you to get through difficult things way easier. And if you can go through difficult things, and if you can go through adversity, then guess what? You can transform your health, because on the journey of transforming your health, you have to be able to go through the ups and downs.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say something.
No, it's just the gratitude helps always find a positive in a negative situation. So it's always good to fill your mind with more positive than negative, or else it becomes the person you are. It can eat you alive,
Right?
And you become that person. Nobody wants to be around negative people, or you don't want to spend your life living in a negative state.
Okay. So last tip in our 5 pillars, what would be your tip as a coach where people got to really, like, man, I gotta improve my positive environment?
I think out of all of them, I think this one's probably the most important one. And it's definitely the relationships in your life. Like, whether it be your family or whether it be your friends, it's the people that you hang around with that impacts you as a person. Like, just like that quote and that we say is, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Like, if you're around unhealthy people, you're probably going to be unhealthy as well too. But if you're around fit people, people who care about their health and they don't care about, partying all the time and going out, you're going to be an influence of that person as well.
Right.
Yeah.
One quote that I love, and I might not be saying it the ideal way, it's, the expectations of the people in your peer group have of you will determine the results in your life. So if the people you spend time with, if they look at you and say, yeah, you're supposed to be overweight. Like, yeah, like, you're not supposed to be successful. You're not supposed to be fit. If that's their expectations of you, you are going to expect that. But instead, when you spend time with people and you say, yeah, I'm not going to work out today, and they look at you like, what? Like, what do you mean you're not going to work out? Go to the gym. Of course, you have the time. Go work out. or they look at you and they say, hey, like, you could do that run, you could do that race, you can do that exercise. It raises your belief, but also your expectations and your standards within yourself. So it's like, my question to you, Carms, is like, if I know that I need to change my environment and I need to surround myself with more positive people, more winners, how do I do that? Like, what can I do to surround myself with people that I guess are on the same mission as me?
I think one thing is first is like spending less time with those people that aren't on the same mission as you. So if there's people that don't have the same goals with you, you know, they don't have the same path as you and the same vision of where you want to go, it's maybe you got to spend less time with those people. And it doesn't necessarily mean like stop being friends with them. It just means maybe spending less time with them for sure.
Is there points in your life that you had to go through that?
For sure. Yeah. I think that's why I relate to this one the most. I think, you know, being young and in high school, like not a lot of people seen working out or health as a priority. You know, it was always going out on weekends. Hey, let's do this. Let's go to this party. But that was something that was never like important in my life. And those people, I'm still friends with them, but I definitely don't hang out with them as frequently as I used to.
Okay. And I want to actually go a little bit deeper into you. And I want, like, you know, we were just giving some tactics about what busy professionals can do, but I want to go deeper in behind the scenes of Coach Carm's, your journey of what you've done to transform to be this confident, strong, beautiful young woman. Is like, were you always this person? So we're going to ask, and finally Coach Susie's here, which if you guys don't know, this is mom and daughter. They look like sisters. But we're going to go a little bit deeper into your personal life. But before we go to your transformation, just maybe to end off the tone of coaching, what do you think is like signs of a bad coach? You're everybody's favorite coach here. There's certain things that you do. But if you're comparing, like, what are bad coaches? What are things, coaches that, you know, you're telling the busy professional, hey, like, if you're seeing this, you gotta look for another coach?
Yeah. I think coaches that just don't care. Like, they're literally just there doing their job, as in just putting you through a workout. They're just giving you random exercises, you know, not even like getting to know you as a person, not asking about your goals, and really just getting the job done. I think that's definitely a bad sign that that's not a coach. They're just kind of a trainer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anything else that you would say, Susie? Like, in terms of just like, yeah, if this is your coach and they do these things, it's something to kind of pay attention to.
I think the one thing is, first, you got to look at your coach. Are they physically fit themselves? Because you want to go get your teeth fixed. If your dentist has crooked yellow teeth, you might have to question that. Just like you want to have a trainer that's overweight. A good sign is I see coaches or trainers who are on their phone while they're coaching their students, or they're sitting and they're eating, like they're distracted with other stuff and not focus on their clients.
Yeah,
that drives me crazy. Or like they're bouncing a ball off the wall or hanging on the rack, like doing something that's not professional.
Yeah.
That's not a good sign.
Those are like things that I think are normal, is like coaches sitting down, watching their clients, eating food. Yeah, good set, like on their phone, like those things. I can't even imagine that being in here. It's like the way we coach, it's like we're sweating a lot of the time when we're coaching, because we're constantly moving back. We're using our volume. We're high-fiving. Like, those are little subtle differences that I think make a big impact in the overall experience.
Another sign I would say is if your coach or trainer doesn't ask you questions like, how did that feel? Instead, they're just prescribing, okay, go heavier, do this way. Like, they gotta know how you're feeling and if you're capable of, or if that was hard. So it's always interacting with your client, knowing how they feel indicates, okay, they're a good coach because they're asking me questions of how I feel, not just telling me what to do.
Yeah, I think punctuality, professionalism, you know what I mean? There shouldn't be coaches 10 minutes, 15 minutes late for the session, you're waiting in the parking lot. Like, that's the hard part about the fitness industry is like, there's so many great, amazing people, but there's not a lot of professionals that take their job, their career as, man, this is professional, right? Not some side thing that I'm doing. It's like when you do it to that type of level, you can really impact people, right? And you can make a very good living doing it as well.
Yeah.
So those are some of like the IQ type stuff, but even from an emotional standpoint, what would be some things that coaches, like a good coach does from emotional standpoint?
Like in a training session?
In a training session or maybe just overall, like what do you think as a great coach that you need to do these things?
I think getting to know the students is very important, like especially if you're going to spend 3 times or 4 times out of the week always seeing them. Like you just don't want to be someone that's in and out. Is like, I know your name, I know your job, I know your kids, like I know a lot about you and I know what goals you want to get to. Like I know that this person wants to lose 10 pounds. Like I know this person needs to gain muscle. So I think just getting to know the person beyond the workout and the training session really enhances the whole experience.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think just to add in, like, definitely agree. I think what makes us different is the care that we put, not just inside the session, but outside. So if someone doesn't show up, like, we will message you personally, like, where have you been? Or if we see that you post something outside of the dojo, it's like, hey, congratulations. Oh, happy birthday to your son. It's like all these little extra that really shows that we care about you, not just getting, your results, but like just care about you as a person.
What would you say, being her mom and also, I guess, like, her, the owner of the business and someone who's kind of training her and mentoring her, what is Coach Carmela, like, what's her strengths as a coach?
I think her strength is making people laugh and having fun in the session. Because I think a lot of times, like, people think that fitness is scary, but I know Coach Carm's like, she likes to joke. She's a people's person and like, she's always high-fiving, but she makes people feel good because of her contagious personality of like, I don't know, her aura, I guess. Like you look at her and then you just smile. She doesn't even have to say anything, but she just makes you feel good.
Yeah, but I agree with you, but I think you do it in a way where it's not too much leaning on the side of fun. Because at the end of the day, you got to train. You can't come and just giggle and laugh and how was your day? It's like that doesn't get you results. Like you have to actually put in work. So I think you have a good way of making someone feel comfortable, making them feel heard, making them smile, but then also, you got to lift heavier. We got to work a little bit more, like pushing them a little bit out of that comfort zone. So I think a good coach knows how to do both. Hey guys, hope you guys are enjoying the episode so far. This is part 1 of 2. So make sure you finish watching this episode. You'll see it next week or the next video that comes up on the channel. We look forward to having more amazing podcasts and providing you guys lots of value. Beastie!